He's physically ill.
Yeah.
He's emotionally, and then the damage you do, like.
Jaden Smith is making headlines again, and this time, it's not for his music or fashion. It's his behavior that's raising eyebrows. DL Hughley didn't hold back, blaming Jada Pinkett Smith for messing him up and pointing to some disturbing claims about her personal life. According to DL, Jada allegedly hooked up with Jaden's friend, August Alsina, while Jaden was mentally and physically unwell, basically accusing her of preying on vulnerability. Fans are calling it a scandalous mess, and it all starts with Jaden's recent red carpet appearances. At the Could Have Been Love premiere, he abruptly walked away from a reporter asking about his Christian Louis Vuitton collection and designer collabs, ignoring the question entirely. Weeks later in Paris, he acted like he'd never seen hail before, catching it in his hands, creating viral clips that had people asking, what's going on with him? The controversy deepens with August Alsina's story. He revealed growing up traumatized, with Jada allegedly exposing his secrets despite promises to keep them private. DL Hughley pointed out the double standard. If a man did this to a girl, the backlash would have been catastrophic. Adding claims about Scientology influence in Hollywood, the mysterious New Village Leadership Academy, and whispers of industry manipulation, and it's clear Jaden's actions aren't happening in a vacuum. So here's the big question. Is Jaden just a spoiled Nepo baby, or are we witnessing the fallout of real trauma in a family and an industry that some say preys on vulnerability? Drop your thoughts below. This is about more than celebrity gossip. It's about accountability, privilege, and the consequences of unchecked power. Jaden Smith's public persona has always walked the line between avant-garde fashion icon and enigmatic celebrity, but lately, it seems like the confusion is spilling into behavior that has everyone talking. DL Hughley didn't mince words, placing some of the blame squarely on Jada Pinkett Smith, claiming her choices growing up contributed to Jaden's erratic moments. And to be clear, these aren't your ordinary celebrity rumors. DL brought up specific allegations, pointing to Jada's alleged entanglement with August Alsina, a friend of Jaden's, during a time when Jaden himself was reportedly struggling mentally and physically. The controversy started to gain traction when Jaden attended the Could Have Been Love Season 2 premiere. A reporter asked about his new Christian Louis Vuitton collection, mentioning his collaboration with designer Stephen Smith, who had previously designed for Kanye West. Instead of responding, Jaden simply walked away. Even if you consider it a moment of awkwardness, many fans saw it as a clear signal of discomfort in the public eye. Weeks later, Jaden was in Paris, caught on video reacting like he'd never seen hail before, trying to catch snowflakes in his hands, exclaiming about ice bouncing off him. It was bizarre enough to go viral and fuel conversations about whether there was a deeper issue at play beyond mere eccentricity. Then there's Jaden's evolving fashion sense, which has also drawn attention. He was seen sporting a miniature dollhouse bag worth $47,000 at the LV show, complete with a balcony and all details. While many fans admire his bold style, others interpret it as a reflection of detachment from reality, a kind of over-the-top indulgence that some attribute to a lack of grounding during his upbringing. DL Hughley's commentary puts these moments in perspective, arguing that the erratic behavior stems from trauma witnessed in the household. The allegations go beyond Jaden's actions, extending to the alleged way Jada treated August Alsina when he was at a vulnerable point. DL pointed out that if the genders were reversed, public reaction would have been swift and severe. The underlying claim is that there was a manipulation of power dynamics. August, being mentally unwell, was exposed to a situation with Jada that should have never occurred. In his 2020 docuseries, State of Emergency, August revealed he suffered trauma at a young age and that his trust in family was violated. Despite asking his mom to keep his secrets, she allegedly shared the information publicly, creating lasting emotional scars. Fans and commentators alike have drawn parallels between Jaden's actions and his parents' alleged behavior. Some argue that Jaden's upbringing, which involved highly publicized unconventional parenting, exposure to industry pressures, and possibly unhealthy dynamics with Will Smith, shaped his current demeanor. Stories shared by August Alsina support this narrative, revealing how a young man with no strong support system can be exploited when influential adults in his environment fail to provide care and boundaries. The narrative becomes even more complex when considering allegations of Scientology influence. Will and Jada's private elementary school, New Village Leadership Academy, initially aimed to create an alternative learning environment, but reports surfaced about connections to Scientology practices. Teachers were linked to the Church of Scientology, and the curriculum incorporated methods developed by Ron Hubbard. While Will and Jada denied involvement, actress Leah Remini, a former Scientologist, confirmed Jada's frequent presence at Scientology centers, adding another layer of controversy to the story. Industry insiders, including former celebrity bodyguards like Big Homie CC, have also weighed in, suggesting that certain tactics observed in Hollywood, such as surveillance and manipulation, mirror methods used in Scientology. These claims, while not universally verified, contribute to the idea that Jaden's environment was both controlled and exploitative. Allegations about camera setups in celebrities' homes, used to gather leverage over politicians and industry figures, point to a culture where vulnerability can be weaponized for career advancement. Jaguar Wright, another industry commentator, has hinted at connections between powerful entertainment circles and secretive societies, further complicating the narrative. Alleged ties between Scientology practices and covert Hollywood networks suggest that Jaden's personal experiences may not be isolated incidents, but part of a larger ecosystem where influence, secrecy, and trauma intersect. Amidst all this, public perception remains divided. Some see Jaden as a spoiled Nepo baby, detached from reality due to wealth and fame. Others, however, argue that his public behavior, such as his red carpet reactions, Paris Hale moment, and extravagant fashion choices, are outward manifestations of deeper trauma, stemming from family dynamics, early exposure to the industry, and alleged mismanagement of personal boundaries by adults he trusted. D.L. Hughley's perspective highlights the latter interpretation, emphasizing the ethical and emotional responsibility of Jada as a parent. Adding to the controversy are observations from fans who recall incidents where Will Smith allegedly demonstrated overly physical affection toward Jaden, such as attempting to kiss him on the mouth. While Will defends these acts as expressions of love, critics argue that forcing physical affection against a child's comfort sets unhealthy behavioral precedents. Combined with the alleged August Alsina incident, these patterns contribute to public speculation about how Jaden's upbringing shaped his current challenges. Even fashion choices, like his $47,000 dollhouse bag, have become symbolic in discussions about entitlement and eccentricity. Critics claim such displays of extravagance indicate a lack of grounding, while supporters suggest they reflect Jaden's creativity and self-expression. Regardless, the public discourse keeps circling back to the role of family influence, parental responsibility, and the impact of the entertainment industry on young talents. In summary, Jaden Smith's current public behavior cannot be divorced from his upbringing, family dynamics, and alleged exposure to manipulative or traumatic experiences. D.L. Hughley's commentary brings these issues into sharp focus, particularly highlighting how Jada's actions with August Alsina may have compounded the situation. The ongoing debate raises broader questions about parenting in high-profile families, industry accountability, and the psychological effects of fame on children and young adults. Ultimately, the conversation around Jaden isn't just about celebrity drama, it's a lens through which audiences examine privilege, trauma, and responsibility. From Paris Hale videos to extravagant designer bags, every moment of Jaden's public life invites scrutiny, encouraging fans to question whether they're witnessing mere eccentricity or the consequences of unresolved emotional and familial issues. And as viewers continue to dissect these moments, the story of Jaden, Jada, Will, and August Alsina becomes a cautionary tale about trust, power, and the long-lasting effects of family and industry decisions on young lives. Picking up from the hook, the story dives deeper into Jaden Smith's recent public appearances and behavior, which some say are influenced by a mixture of parental choices, celebrity culture pressures, and trauma. After the initial red carpet incident, where Jaden walked away from a simple interview regarding his Christian Louis Vuitton collection, fans and commentators began connecting the dots between his public demeanor and his upbringing. D.L. Hughley, in particular, has been vocal, claiming that Jada Pinkett Smith's past behavior played a pivotal role in shaping Jaden's mindset. According to D.L., Jada allegedly sold Jaden to the industry while simultaneously engaging in what he described as predatory relationships, such as her involvement with August Alsina. The critique is that this behavior created a toxic household environment, affecting both her children and those close to them. Witnessing these dynamics firsthand, Jaden reportedly struggled to reconcile the boundary violations and the lack of guidance, which may explain some of his unusual public reactions, such as his viral Paris hail incident. The hail video became symbolic of Jaden's disorientation in the public eye. In Paris, he was recorded expressing astonishment over hail, almost as if experiencing it for the first time. Lines like, "Bro, ice is falling from the sky. It hurts a little bit. Dog, what's going on?" quickly circulated on social media, prompting questions about his emotional and mental state. Critics argued this wasn't merely eccentric behavior, it hinted at a sheltered or disrupted upbringing that limited his ability to process normal environmental stimuli. Others interpreted it as performative, typical of celebrity children conditioned by public scrutiny. Jaden's fashion choices also became a focal point for commentary. At the LV show, he carried a 47,000 mini dollhouse bag, complete with intricate detailing and miniature figures. While some fans admired his bold style, others interpreted it as a manifestation of a deeper detachment from reality or an overcompensation for trauma. D.L. Hughley and others argued that the root of this eccentricity stems from neglect or mismanagement of emotional needs during childhood, particularly given the controversial interactions between Jada and August Alsina. August Alsina's experience, as described in his 2020 docuseries State of Emergency, adds another layer of complexity. He shared that he suffered trauma at a young age, with someone close to him as the perpetrator. Despite asking his mother to keep the incident private, the information spread in his neighborhood. August later admitted feeling isolated, depressed, and unsupported, elements that D.L. Hughley uses to contextualize Jaden's current behavior, suggesting that exposure to similar dynamics may have contributed to emotional instability. Industry observers note that these personal dynamics often intersect with professional pressures. Jaden's interactions with designers, musicians, and the media occur within an ecosystem where public perception is currency. His walk-off during the interview was cited as evidence of discomfort in performing normal social interactions, possibly influenced by underlying emotional trauma. Meanwhile, his eccentric fashion and reactions to ordinary phenomena, like hail or rain, reinforce a public image that oscillates between misunderstood genius and spoiled celebrity offspring. The discussion inevitably turns toward parental influence. Critics point to the tension between Will Smith's public displays of affection and Jada's controversial decisions, such as bringing August Alsina into the household. While Will attempted to normalize certain behaviors, Jada's actions, perceived by some as boundary crossing, introduced elements of unpredictability and confusion. Jaden, being both exposed to industry pressures and the complexities of his home environment, may have internalized mixed signals regarding trust, boundaries, and emotional expression. Adding to the intrigue is the New Village Leadership Academy, a private school run by Will and Jada, which allegedly had ties to Scientology. Parents raised concerns over the involvement of Scientologist teachers and study methods originating from L. Ron Hubbard. While the school eventually closed, these connections fueled speculation that Jaden's upbringing involved exposure to rigid, cult-like structures that may have compounded his emotional struggles. D.L. Hughley and other commentators frequently reference this angle to emphasize the layered pressures, family, celebrity, industry, and ideology that contributed to Jaden's public persona. Jaguar Wright and others also bring attention to Hollywood's systemic pressures and secretive networks. Allegations suggest that predators within the industry adopt manipulative tactics, some allegedly informed by Scientology practices, to control young talent. The intersection of celebrity family influence, industry exploitation, and personal trauma becomes a recurring theme in Jaden's narrative. He is simultaneously navigating inherited fame, parental contradictions, and industry expectations, all of which can exacerbate stress and emotional fragility. Public reactions to Jaden's behavior vary widely. Some dismiss it as mere eccentricity, attributing it to wealth, privilege, or nepotism. Others, including D.L. Hughley, emphasize the psychological impact of family dynamics and boundary violations, pointing out that parental actions can profoundly affect children's coping mechanisms. The ongoing debate reflects broader societal questions. To what extent do celebrity children bear responsibility for their public actions, and how much are they shaped or broken by circumstances beyond their control? Jaden's interactions with peers, such as the viral Coachella videos with Justin Bieber, also sparked discussions about shared trauma in the industry. Observers note patterns of emotional vulnerability and unusual behavior, which some interpret as evidence of early exposure to high-pressure environments without adequate support. This aligns with D.L. Hughley's critique. When parents fail to provide stability or allow exploitative dynamics, children may develop coping mechanisms that appear erratic or socially unconventional. Another point of contention involves the affection displayed by Will Smith. Jaden reportedly expressed discomfort with certain physical gestures, which adds nuance to discussions about parenting, consent, and boundaries. While Will may intend these displays as love, they reveal potential misalignments in understanding what his children need emotionally. The combination of parental contradictions, Jada's controversial decisions, and Will's affectionate methods creates an environment where Jaden must navigate conflicting cues while simultaneously managing public scrutiny. Finally, the conversation shifts back to D.L. Hughley's perspective. He frames the situation as emblematic of a broader cultural issue, the consequences of parental choices in shaping celebrity children. By linking Jaden's behavior to both familial influence and systemic pressures within Hollywood, D.L. emphasizes the need to consider context before judgment. It's not merely about spoiled privilege or eccentricity. It's about understanding how trauma, boundary violations, and industry exploitation intersect in shaping young public figures. Is Jaden simply a privileged celebrity acting out, or are we witnessing the long-term effects of complex familial and systemic pressures? D.L. Hughley's commentary underscores that these narratives cannot be reduced to simplistic explanations. They require attention to nuance, empathy for vulnerable individuals, and awareness of the industry's darker aspects. Ultimately, Jaden's story continues to unfold, with social media amplifying each incident and public debate shaping his reputation. From Paris Hale videos to high-fashion showcases, every action becomes a reflection of personal history, parental influence, and industry conditioning. As fans, commentators, and insiders weigh in, one thing remains clear: the Smith family saga is not just a tabloid story. It's a lens into the intersections of fame, parenting, trauma, and the pressures of growing up in Hollywood's spotlight. One of the recurring themes is parental influence. D.L. Hughley emphasizes that Jada Pinkett Smith's controversial choices, such as her relationship with August Alsina, created a chaotic household environment. While some argue this is a matter of personal freedom, D.L. frames it as boundary violations with lasting consequences. August was reportedly young, vulnerable, and without a solid support system when this occurred, which, according to D.L., magnifies the gravity of the situation. These events may have indirectly shaped Jaden's perceptions of relationships, trust, and boundaries, particularly when navigating both familial and professional spaces. In parallel, Will Smith's parenting style also comes under scrutiny. His public displays of affection, though intended as loving gestures, may have conflicted with Jaden's comfort levels. For example, Jaden openly expressed discomfort with certain behaviors, highlighting that love and care can sometimes be miscommunicated. Observers argue that inconsistent or misaligned approaches to parenting, affection from Will, boundary crossing from Jada likely left Jaden navigating confusion about acceptable emotional interactions. Adding another layer, industry pressures intersect with familial dynamics. The viral red carpet walk-off and fashion choices like the $47,000 mini dollhouse bag become more than eccentricity. They reflect the coping mechanisms of someone who has experienced early exposure to high-stress environments without consistent guidance. D.L. Hughley and Jaguar Wright suggest that celebrity children are often sold to the industry before they are emotionally prepared, creating a perfect storm of public scrutiny, performance expectations, and psychological stress. August Alsina's perspective further complicates the narrative. His disclosure about childhood trauma and lack of support paints a picture of a young man navigating vulnerability without reliable adult guidance. D.L. Hughley draws parallels between August's experience and Jaden's exposure to a household with blurred boundaries. In both cases, the adults in charge, whether parents or mentors, were either negligent or placed personal desires above the well-being of those under their care. These dynamics raise critical questions about accountability, consent, and the lasting impact of early emotional trauma. Public perception remains polarized. On one side, critics argue that Jaden's behavior, walking away from interviews, reacting dramatically to hail, or adopting eccentric fashion, is evidence of a spoiled or entitled celebrity child. On the other, D.L. Hughley, Jaguar Wright, and concerned fans frame these actions as symptomatic of deeper, unresolved emotional issues stemming from family and industry dynamics. This debate highlights a broader societal struggle to reconcile the public personas of celebrity offspring with their private struggles. Adding more context, the New Village Leadership Academy, with its alleged Scientology connections, further underscores the pressures faced by Jaden and Willow Smith. The school's closure did not erase questions about exposure to rigid, potentially cult-like ideologies. Industry insiders have suggested that some manipulative tactics employed by Hollywood predators borrow from Scientology's psychological methods, meaning that young stars are not only contending with parental influence, but also systemic conditioning designed to control and exploit. Jaguar Wright's commentary amplifies concerns about hidden structures in Hollywood that intersect with celebrity family dynamics. Allegations of secretive societies, manipulative networks, and the use of surveillance or coercion reveal a cultural ecosystem in which young stars must navigate fame, exploitation, and expectation simultaneously. For Jaden, exposure to these pressures at a formative age compounds personal challenges, shaping his interactions with peers, media, and the public. D.L. Hughley's analysis suggests that understanding Jaden requires examining all these intersecting pressures: parental decisions, peer dynamics, industry exploitation, and public scrutiny. His argument is that Jaden's eccentricities are not random, but rather reflective of a life lived at the crossroads of privilege, trauma, and intense public visibility. When evaluating Jaden's behavior, one must consider context, what he experienced at home, what he witnessed in his parents' relationships, and the expectations imposed upon him by the entertainment industry. Jaden's fashion, social media presence, and public reactions, once dismissed as mere attention-seeking, can also be read as coping mechanisms. His Paris Hale video, for instance, illustrates not just shock at natural phenomena, but also a disconnect from ordinary experiences, possibly symptomatic of a childhood shaped by celebrity bubble conditions. The same can be said for his engagement with avant-garde fashion, which acts as a performative outlet, allowing him to navigate identity and visibility in a controlled yet public manner. Industry observers note that these patterns mirror what D.L. Hughley describes as a cycle of exposure and exploitation. When parents, whether intentionally or not, place children in environments of high public scrutiny without adequate emotional scaffolding, the result can be publicized behavior that seems eccentric or erratic. Fans and critics alike must question whether such behavior is merely privilege-driven rebellion or a signal of deeper unresolved trauma. Furthermore, the media plays a pivotal role. Videos of Jaden's reactions, interviews, and social media posts are dissected and analyzed by millions, amplifying both positive and negative narratives. Every public action becomes fodder for commentary, contributing to the ongoing tension between personal reality and public perception. D.L. Hughley highlights that this magnification can exacerbate existing emotional stressors, creating a feedback loop in which public scrutiny reinforces private struggles. While Jaden is often seen as a public figure reacting to fame and fortune, D.L. Hughley stresses the importance of looking at root causes: parental influence, family boundary violations, and early exposure to high-pressure industry environments. These factors, combined with systemic exploitation and lack of consistent emotional support, contribute to the behaviors that the public interprets in snapshots, such as fashion choices, viral videos, and public interactions. The final discussion points toward a broader societal question: how do we evaluate the actions of celebrity children? Are they simply spoiled Nepo babies, or are they products of complex emotional ecosystems that include parental decisions, industry pressures, and public exposure? D.L. Hughley, Jaguar Wright, and others argue for a more nuanced view, encouraging audiences to consider context, trauma, and systemic influences before passing judgment. In closing, Jaden's story is emblematic of a larger conversation about celebrity, parenting, and industry accountability. From viral Paris Hale videos to controversial fashion choices, his public behavior cannot be divorced from his private reality. As fans, commentators, and social media audiences, it's essential to examine the intersections of family, fame, and trauma that shape young public figures. D.L. Hughley's critiques and the insights from August Alsina, Jaguar Wright, and others provide a roadmap for understanding not just Jaden Smith, but the broader cultural dynamics that impact celebrity children worldwide. This final segment emphasizes that public behavior is rarely isolated. It reflects a history of complex experiences, parental influence, and systemic pressures. Jaden Smith's journey, while captivating to the public eye, serves as a case study for how fame, trauma, and parenting intersect in ways that influence emotional development, public perception, and industry navigation. Understanding this story fully requires looking beyond headlines, viral moments, and social media clips into the nuanced realities that shape the lives of young stars.